Hi, Jake. Hi, Leo. How are you today?
Hey, good.
Doing
Good.
well, thank
Good. So let me begin by asking, what did you enjoy the most about being involved with a friend of the family? Open question for you.
you. I would say just the learning from the talent and creatives around us and working in an environment that was supportive and difficult and complex.
Hmm.
I think walking away from something like that, being like, all of these boxes for what you hope it would be like um, are checked.
Hmm. And Jake?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, same. It's like uh, I said this earlier, but like sometimes you get a script and it feels like most of it's there, but there's some real holes, and then your job as an actor feels like it's more to go in and link these disparate parts as if they are organic and natural, and that becomes this whole other job, and you don't really get to tell the story in the way that it could be done, and or you get there and you and the costume department head or you and hair or makeup or are just on different pages or feel like you're telling different stories um and when it all comes together and you have a mutual regard and respect for each of these people
Hmm.
and them you and you feel like everything is there, like Leo's saying, supported to then just do the thing you're there to do, which is to be this character and tell this story about these people. um there's just nothing better, I think, as an actor to feel that way. So, I keep saying there's like two tracks running at all times. There's like what this subject matter is that's difficult and dark and aggressive and sad and ultimately hopeful because the Brobergs came out intact and with one another and continued to live like healthy, purpose filled lives after this. And then there's this other track of like creatively making the show, and that
Hmm.
like that is wildly fulfilling, um artistically and creatively and personally.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
But you don't want to say like I had a great time making it and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
be misconstrued, you know what I mean,
Right, right,
or
right, right.
just
Yeah.
focus on the subject matter when so many people worked so hard for so long to do this. It's like
Mhm.
they're there in equal measure, I think, for me at
Yeah,
least.
for
Yeah.
sure. Definitely. And Jake, you play Robert B. Berchtold, the primary antagonist. What did you do to prepare for this role?
um Leading up to it, there's a mix of um real kind of fact-based research in just who he was, where he was from, what his life was, and then information that pulls out of that as to what his accent would be, and things like that, and then more looking into manipulation tactics and pedophilia and grooming and that work, and then you sort of have all this collection of stuff that you hope to be able to rely on and pull from, and somehow it has made its way into your brain and body, and then get these wonderful scripts from Nick and the writers, and try to use that to fulfill the story that's laid out in front of you. And the
Hmm.
last piece is that, like, in my experience, there was no amount of research or preparation that could offer the um, like understanding and spark that comes with meeting Hendrix and then McKenna, who played Jan at different ages, and just like being present to the wonderful work that these two young women are offering, and 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 being like, all this research then has to kind of fall away as you are present with them and building this thing together,
Yeah,
along with Leo and Anna and Colin and these other beautiful performances.
definitely. And Leo, what did you do to prepare yourself to play Gail, his wife?
Um, I did a few things that I well, the most important things I think I read letters that she wrote,
Okay.
and heard tapes, which was really important for me because I didn't get to meet the real Gail, and there wasn't much on her. So But on just a character level, I wrote songs. I'd come home, and from Gail's point of view, I would write basically a poem,
Okay.
lyric, music, a song, and that, because it's not the easiest to just go into a role and be like, I love this man who does terrible, horrific things, and I really had to go back and steal him in my mind as someone I could really love.
For sure, definitely. As actors, is it more challenging for you to play characters who are based on real life people?
Well, yes and no. Maybe, it depends on like how, I guess that a whole myriad of answers. One is like I've never had to be, you know, RFK Jr. You know what I mean? Like, or Bobby, or you know what I mean? Like, I've never had to play Babe Ruth, like a person where you go like, it doesn't look or sound like Babe Ruth. So that's one element that's sort of removed from this, in which hopefully people aren't saying like, you don't sound or look like the real guy. And then really, to me, it's my limited experience. Like, it's up to the writing. It's like, is the person who's creating the world that you're then trying to live in, and the story you're trying to tell, are they creating something nuanced and human and complex? And I would say in this instance, very much yes. Nick and what the other writers did here is like psychologically, emotionally layered and complex and nuanced, and so no, in that way, there isn't a, again, in my experience, there's not, I didn't feel hemmed in and being like, well, this is a real guy and we owe it to them to do this, and this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, gotcha. Leo, would you like to add to that?
No, that was good.
Okay. Well, then ultimately, what do you hope viewers take away from Friend of the Family?
I think we all hope that the intention of making this, which the intention really comes from Jan and Marianne and Nick creatively getting together and wanting to do respect to the complexities of the event. The fact that there's black and white things are easy to sound one way, or look one way, and to understand that these were good families, these were good people that be affected. And that happens so often where it's not under our noses, or it's right under our noses, excuse me. And we're a little bit blind to it. Actually, Jake has a really good answer for this. What do you do?
I mean, look, I'm piggybacking off of Leo, but like, it was reassuring from the start to know that Jan and Marianne were a part of this, and that my understanding is their intention is to share their story in this, a narrative limited series, because it gives you, hopefully, the viewer, a subjective look at what it's like to be inside a family, a community that has been groomed and affected by someone like this. And in that way, to like enter this conversation into the public arena again and say, like, it still happens.
Yeah.
This kind of abuse happens all the time. Children are regularly sexually abused by those they know and love and trust. Like, statistically, more often than not, it's someone you're close with, not a stranger in the alley. And then kind of, parallel to that, I think, is, and again, I think this is what Leo is also driving at, is like, our job as actors is hopefully to fulfill their story in an accurate way that then their intention is accomplished. Like, the best I can offer this thing is to have done right by that story so that its effect is successful.
Mhm.
Because I'm not, and don't pretend to be an expert, on the statistics or the emotional effect or the psychological effect of these events, but the whole time you're just really driving to be like, I hope we're doing justice to your story, Jan.
Mhm.
Because I so strongly believe in why you want to tell your story.
Mhm. For sure. Perfect. May I take a screenshot for social media purposes?
Yeah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Jake, Leo, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank
Denny.